of heartaches and pains. Sometimes your life seems like a shipwreck, and you're wondering how you're gonna make it. But the Most High told us that we should cast our cares on Him, 'cause there's not one circumstances that He can fix. All you got to do is put your trust in Him, and don't worry about a thing. 'Cause worrying won't solve not one of your problems. My friend, don't worry about a thing. Take your worries and give it all to Him. Ooh, don't worry about a thing. 'Cause worrying won't solve not one of your problems. Yeah. A worrying man's day is filled with gloom, but they who trust in the Most High have sunshine right through. So when you're faced with difficulties and the weight of the world comes crashing, remember the Most High told us to cast our cares on Him, 'cause there's not one circumstances that He can fix. All you've got to do is put your trust in Him, and don't worry about a thing. 'Cause worrying won't solve not one of your problems. My friend, don't worry about a thing. Take your worries and give it all to Him, and He will fix them. Don't worry about a thing. 'Cause worrying won't solve not one of your problems. Remember the Most High told you to cast your cares on Him. Yeah. 'Cause there's not one circumstances that He can't fix. All you've got to do is put your trust in Him, and don't worry about a thing. 'Cause worrying won't solve not one of your problems. My friend, don't worry about a thing. Take your worries and give it all to Him, and He will take care. Don't worry about a thing. No, 'cause worrying won't solve not one of your problems. My friend, don't you worry. Don't worry. You know, worrying is wasteful, so why waste the energy on worrying? You can trust the Most High. Ra'ash Yasha Allah.
Shabbat Shalom. Hold on, let me fix that. All right, there we go. We good now. Everything is good. All right, Shabbat Shalom. So I'm here for week. This is part two of the teacher of righteousness. All right, now the first one we did about the prophet like Moses, showing within the Dead Sea Scrolls and showing correlations, you know, within Ebionite records, like the recognitions of Clement and the homilies of Clement, and also showing things within other Judean Christian records, showing the correlations within the Dead Sea Scrolls of the teacher of righteousness being the true prophet, and also Jesus being called the true prophet within the Ebionites record, showing the connection between the Ebionites and the teacher of righteousness, and showing that the teacher of righteousness And Jesus, the Ebionite Jesus and the teacher of righteousness is the same person. The Ebionite was calling him the true prophet. They call him the Messiah, and he's the true prophet. In the Dead Sea Scrolls, we see that the teacher of righteousness, he was considered the true prophet, the prophet like unto Moses, just like Jesus, the prophet like unto Moses. So that's what we see. That's what we seen with part one. And then for people who didn't see that, go look at part one, go review it. I know it's a lot of information. Take your time looking at it, study, review the information, get the Dead Sea Scrolls, purchase the Dead Sea Scrolls, get the Penguin Classic Dead Sea Scrolls, complete Dead Sea Scrolls edition in English by Giza Vermas. Get that edition, study the Dead Sea Scrolls, get familiar with the Dead Sea Scrolls. If you want to get familiar with the early church, if you want to get familiar with the early church, I was just thinking about it today. The Dead Sea Scrolls, it's the early church Bible. That's what it is, because it has New Testament information in there. It has a compoundment of Old Testament information, collections of information that we never heard of and things that we do know about. That's within our Masoretic text today. All right, so it's interesting when you come to find out these things. You're like, wow. So today is part two, and next week will be part three, and then pretty much going to be finished with the teacher of righteousness, and they're going to move on to something else. But part two today, we're dealing with the teacher of righteousness, the life of the teacher of righteousness, okay? Dealing with the life of the teacher of righteousness, his ministry, and showing the correlation with Jesus' ministry, and showing what things that happen within this ministry and how those things happen within Jesus' ministry, showing the connection, showing you that the teacher of righteousness is Jesus. Jesus is the teacher of righteousness. All right. And what, I use the word Yeshaya, people may say Yeshua, or Yahweh, or whatever, but I'm for the sake of for understanding, for those who may not understand, because this is going out to everybody, whether they Hebrew Israelites, whether they Christians, whether whatever denomination, whatever their religion may be, because the truth about the early church has to come out. And this is not only just get information spiritually, but we actually get information historically, also. All right. And that's how it should be. It should be historically and spiritually. And that's how you'll be able to discern what is fake and what is not fake. And that's what's in the recognitions of Clement. They tell you that Jesus, they say, according to the Ebionite, they say Jesus knew he was teaching us how to exchange with the money changers to understand what's fake and what's not fake, what's in the scriptures and what's not in the scriptures, what's supposed to be there and what was injected. All right. So now let's go ahead and go into this. So the teacher of righteousness, and we're in the Dead Sea Scrolls. We actually in the Damascus document. So I'm gonna start on this. This is Damascus document. I'm gonna start on page 129. All right, 129. 1 second. Let me send this one thing out real quick so that way I'm not gonna have to worry about it. Hold on 1 second. All right, there we go. All right, so now let's get it. So we're in the Damascus document, and this is we on page 129. This is the beginning of it, and this is the exhortation. This is the beginning of it, of the document, and it reads: "Listen now, all you who know righteousness, and consider the works of God, for he has dispute with all flesh, and will condemn all those who despise him. For when they were unfaithful and forsook him, he hid his face from Israel and his sanctuary, and delivered them up to the sword. But remembering the covenant of the forefathers, he left a remnant to Israel and did not deliver it up to be destroyed. And in the age of wrath, 390 years after he had given them into the hand of King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon, he visited them and he caused a plant root to spring from Israel and Aaron to inherit his land and to prosper one thing, and to prosper on the good things of his earth. And they perceived their iniquity and recognized that they were guilty men. Yet for 20 years, they were like blind men groping for the way. And God observed their deeds, that they sought him with a whole heart. And he raised for them a teacher of righteousness to guide them in the way of his heart. So he rose them a teacher. So 390 years after we was in Babylon, the Babylonian captivity, 390 years. So that puts us around the mid, it ends around, like if we're dealing with the end of the Babylonian captivity, that was around 538 BCE, around that time, give or take. And then that puts us at 390 years after that. That puts us during the Greek Empire, when the Greeks was trying to fight control over Israel. And that puts us around the mid or late 2nd century BCE. And this is around the same time. So it puts like maybe let's say 148 BCE. Okay, around this time. So let's and that's around the same time like the Essenes were originated. They came in the late 2nd century BCE. All right. So and this, what a coincidence that the scrolls is saying around that time, that's when God rose, people up from Israel and Aaron. So he rising people up, through Levites, and he rising, Israelite, the rest of the tribes of Israel up. He rising them up. They understanding that they were iniquity and things like that. And then for like 20 years, for some, depending wherever this 20 years is, the 20 years, they had no leadership for 20 years. They ain't had no, they was like blind men groping. But then what happened was this when the community rules come into the scene. And I'm gonna go into this when we go into the Damascus document dealing with the Judean Christian writings. Because we're gonna go into the Damascus document next, doing for the Judean Christian writings. So they rose. So the Most High seen what they was coming back to the Most High, but then eventually something happened. The leadership, wasn't there for some reason. They didn't have no leadership for like 20 years. They didn't have no good leadership or something, or they didn't have something was going on. But then this is when the community rules come into effect. All right, and then this is when you got John the Baptist. They preparing the way for the teacher of righteousness, for the master to come. So then you raise them up a teacher of righteousness to guide them in the way of the Most High heart, okay, in his heart. So he rose them up a teacher of righteousness. That's what happened. All right. So, and he rose them up. He rose up a teacher of righteousness. So we see that right here. So this is the teacher of righteousness coming on the scene. He's coming on the scene after they prepared the way. All right. So now I'm gonna keep going. So I'm gonna jump down. I'm gonna move around this because we're focusing on the teacher of righteousness. All right, focusing on the teacher of righteousness and the life of the teacher of righteousness and his ministry. So he came on the scene, and they knew that he was the teacher eventually. Like, I guess he went through where everybody else through the initiation, getting baptized, and all of this. But then eventually they understood. Oh, that's the one, just like the Messiah, just like they understood. Oh, that's the one, that's him. When John the Baptist seen Jesus get baptized, come out the water, they're like, oh, that's the one. The Holy Spirit and the Most High, hovered around him, doves, and what we get in the Greco-Roman. But in the Jewish Christian Gospels, fragments of it, it say the Most High said, "You are all the prophets I've been waiting for. I've been waiting for you out of all the prophets." So he was like, it was like he was the one. After his baptism, it was solidified. He was the one. All right. So that's what you see. They raised the Most High raised the teacher of righteousness up. All right. Now go to page 135. Let me slide down here. And we're in the Damascus document still, in the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Penguin Classic Edition, Giza Vermes, and I'm going to page 135 within the Dead Sea Scrolls, and this is in the Zodokite fragment also. All right, the Zodokite fragment, but the Zodokite fragment was found around the late 1800s or something like that. And R.H. Charles he translated it. But that dates back to like the 10th century or like the 11th century AD. But then when the Dead Sea Scrolls got found, and then they seen the Damascus diet, they're like, whoa, this was what was found. Like, whoa, this is what was found at in Cairo, because the Zedekiah fragments was found in somewhere in Egypt. Not in Cairo, it was somewhere in Egypt. Can't remember where it was found in Egypt, but it was found in Egypt. And then when they found the Damascus document, they're like, what? This is an older version of the Zedekiah fragment. This is an older version. They're like, what? So it kind of changed some more. It put some more things in action when it comes to about this movement at the Qumran caves. All right. So the teacher of righteousness. So now he came on the scene. They say the Most High rose them up a teacher of righteousness. So this page 135 right here in the Damascus document, which is actually chapter 9 in the Zedekiah fragments, or the fragment of the Zedekites. So I'm gonna read this right here, page 135, and it reads, the book of the law, right here, the book of the law are the tabernacles of the king. As God said, I will raise up the tabernacle of David, which is fallen. The king is the congregation, and the basis of the statues are the books of the prophets, whose sayings Israel despised. The star is the interpreter of the law, who shall come to Damascus. As it is written, a star shall come forth out of Jacob, and a sepulchre shall rise out of Israel. This sepulchre is the prince of the whole congregation, and when he comes, he shall smite all the children of Seth. So they knew that this true prophet, was a twofold figure. And then on top of that, they understood that this prophet was going to come to the place that they was preparing the way at, which they named Damascus, which is New Covenant. All right. So like we just read in the beginning of the Damascus document, we just read that the Most High rose up a teacher of righteousness for him. And now we further readings for more understanding that they actually saying that this interpreter of the law, which is the teacher of righteousness, he's coming, he shall come to he will come to where they at. This is why this is called a Damascus document. He will come to where they at. All right. So he came. All right, now so let's keep going. Dealing with the administrator. So we know the teacher of righteousness is coming with this interpretation of the law. He's coming, he's there, and he's bringing a certain interpretation, and he's the teacher. He's the teacher, and he's the leader. He's the leader there. All right, so now we're on page 136. 136 now. I'm gonna go right here. I'm gonna start right here. Now I say, none of the men who entered the new covenant in the land of Damascus, knowing that the Damascus is considered the land of the new covenant, okay, where they at, and who again betray it and depart from the fountain of the living water. So if you enter this covenant and you depart and you betray it, talking about like Judas, and we're gonna get to Judas in a second. We're gonna get to that in just a second. So you have this going on. If you come into this covenant and then you depart from it, you betray it and you depart from the fountain of living waters. Where will you get that at? From the fountain of living waters. We go on the part 3, which is gonna be the last section about the teacher of righteousness. I'm gonna go through all the parallels with the New Testament and then everything that's said within the New Testament and the Dead Sea Scrolls. All right. So, but it's saying, depart from the fountain of living waters, shall be reckoned with the council of the people, or inscribed in his book from the day of the gathering and of the teacher of the community until the coming of the Messiah out of Aaron and Israel. All right. So they letting you know that for those who depart from this new covenant, from the time that the teacher came, all right, and all the time, all the way into the time that, because they believe in the resurrection. They believe that the Messiah is coming back. It's coming. And they also, and on top of that, they believe when the Messiah is coming, the Messiah is coming for in the war scrolls, that he's coming with angels, and they're going to fight against their enemies. All right, with the help of the Messiah and the holy angels. All right. So, and then, but they understand that now. We know that it's two messiahs within this community. We know that you have the Davidic Messiah, which is the leader of the community, and which is actually the teacher of righteousness. But you also have a Messiah that's going to come out of the lineage of Aaron. All right, but right here, this don't use plural. This is talking about one Messiah. So they understand that the Messiah, the teacher of righteousness, the leader of the community, the Davidic Messiah, they understand that he is a priest too. Okay, and I'm gonna show you that. I'm gonna show you that when we get into the commentary. I'm gonna show you that. So now, they're letting you know from the time that the teacher came and from the time that he's actually going to return. For those who departed, they're not going to be a part of that. They're not going to be part of that. For those who departed, all right, from the time that the teacher came and from the time that they return, when it comes to when it's time to actually fight against the enemies along with the holy angels. All right, so now I'm gonna keep going. Matter of fact, I'm gonna keep reading. Yeah, and thus it shall be for every man who enters a congregation of men of perfect holiness, but faints in performing the duties of upright. He is a man who is melted in furnace. When his deeds are revealed, he shall be expelled from the congregation as though his lot had never fallen among the disciples of God. Then men of knowledge shall rebuke him in ordinance with his sin against the time when he shall stand again before the assembly of the men of perfect holiness. But when his deeds are revealed, according to the interpretation of the law, in which the men of perfect holiness walk, let no man defer to him with regard to money or work, for all the holy ones of the Most High have cursed him. And if thus shall it be for all among the first and the last who reject the precept, who set idols upon his hearts and walk in stubbornness of their hearts, they shall have no share in the house of the law. They shall be judged in the same manner of their companions were judged, who deserted to the scoffer. So in this community, it was a scoffer. All right, it was somebody who was a liar, who was a scoffer, and this person is combating against the teacher of righteousness along with the wicked priests. All right. Now it said that the liar gave the teacher of righteousness up to the wicked priest. We're going to read about that. All right. Just like how Judas gave up Jesus to the Sanhedrin. All right. So you see these things, and then let me bring up something about Judas real quick. I'm gonna bring my page back. Let's see. Let me bring my page back. Let's see. All right, so yeah, it's now when it comes to Judas, it's a thing about that his name can actually, mean pretty much because it's Iscariot, but it's also pronounced in the Hebrew. Okay, it can be pronounced in the Hebrew Ishakirim, something like that. Ishakirim, which actually in the Hebrew, it actually that actually means the liar. All right, that actually means the liar. All right, so, and that's interesting. Let me see if I can pull that up. But they say that's they say that's another way of Iscariot. All right, because the word Iscariot itself just means somebody from a specific land. But they saying in another name for it is actually the liar. All right, the liar. They're saying that's another name for Judas, the liar. All right, so now I'm gonna keep reading. So this say, from the day of the gathering in of the teacher of the community until the end of all the men who of men of war who deserted to the liar, they shall pass about 40 years. And during the age of the wrath of God shall be kindled against Israel. As he said, there shall be no king, no prince, no judge, no man to rebuke with justice. So from the time of the gathering of the community with the teacher, and then the liar came in, people deserted from the liar. And 40 years after that, you will have a judgment come. And the judgment actually happened. A judgment actually happened. All right. Because if you count from the time, we could say, they crucified Jesus around 33 AD. 40 years after that, around 73 AD, that was when the last place was Masada. At 73 AD. All right. They destroyed Masada. And the people there left at Masada committed suicide there. The ones that was left or died by the sword. So you have that. All right. So you got from the time from Jesus' crucifixion, giving up back, because the liar gave him up to the wicked priest. We're going to read about it. The liar gave him up to the wicked priest. And then since that happened, what happened after that? 40 years later, you had 70 AD, and 3 years later, you had the last stronghold of Israel was at Masada, and that was rectified in 73 AD. So, like I said, and another name for Judas is let me because I wanna actually pronounce it in the Hebrew correctly. So another name for Judas, well, another meaning of his name, another meaning of his name. All right, hold on 1 second. Let me get this real quick, because another meaning of Judas Iscariot, because I want to make something clear. All right, so now let me see if you can see my screen. All right, so right here. So now Judas Iscariot. Now it's possible evidence. Now it's the scholar named Ernest Wilhelm Heinstenberg is that Iscariot means the liar or the false one. From the Hebrew, it's a Hebrew, and the Hebrew is actually the word for that is Ishakrium, Iskarium, which means like the man, the lion man. All right. He suggests that name in the Hebrew actually goes back to that. Now, reason why he say that, because the Greco-Roman authors of the New Testament, they knew, because we're reading the Dead Sea Scrolls, we're reading the original documents. All right, so they understood that it was a liar who did what they did. He did what he did, betrayed the teacher of righteousness. And what happened with that liar? When the Greco-Roman Christians was writing their New Testament, what they did, they understood that, because they had the Judean Christian information. So what they did, they just did wordplay and just call him basically a Iscariot in the English or in the Greek or whatever, which they know that comes from the liar that was actually within the Dead Sea Scrolls. Because the Dead Sea Scrolls don't name nobody named Judas. They name somebody named the liar, though. Then this liar was a part of the community, just like we see Judas was a part of the community. So Judas the Iscariot, like, no, it's Judas the liar. That they just named him the liar. They put names to characters. That's what they did. Some of these characters are actually legit names, historical names, and some of them characters were just characters. They just pretty much, they Greco-Romanized it. You know what I'm saying? That's what happened. So when you read the liar in the Dead Sea Scrolls, it's showing you the origin of what Judas come from. Okay, Iscariot. So this scholar, he believed that Iscariot means the liar in the Hebrew, and it does mean that in the Hebrew and in the Aramaic. All right, so now but then also it means a man from a specific city also. All right, it means like that man from a specific city also, because it's coming from what the Hebrew word is coming from. Let me see. 1 second. So the Hebrew word is coming from H377, which is like, because the word ishi is like man, dealing with the man. So it's Ishkariot, and then the Kariot is a place that they say is a place that somebody is from. It's the Kariot or something like that. It's a place, but really, it's Ishkariot. It actually means the lion man, the man that lied. All right, so now let's keep going. So now let me read the bottom of this. So now move on pretty quickly. All right, so now I'm gonna read this right now. But all those who hold fast to these precepts, going and coming in ordinance with the law, who heed to the voice of the teacher and confess before, saying, truly we have sinned. We and our fathers have walked counter to the precepts of the covenant. That judgment upon us are justice and truth, who do not lift their hand against his holy precepts, or his righteous statutes, or his true testimonies, who have learned from the former judgments by which the members of the community were judged. So you got the teacher is this, how much recognition and how much homage the teacher like you have to you got to take heed to the teacher's voice. If you didn't take heed to the teacher's voice and confess before God that you truly have sinned, that sounds like Jesus. That sounds like Jesus. Now, when I go into the third part next week, I'm gonna actually show comparisons in the New Testament and stuff like that. Like you gotta confess your sins, to the Messiah, to the teacher, and you gotta hear the voice of the teacher, all right, of the Messiah, and you got to confess your sins before the Most High, saying, truly we have sinned, we and our fathers. All right. And then I'm gonna keep reading. Who have listened to the voice of the teacher of righteousness, and have not despised the precepts of the righteousness when they heard them. They shall rejoice, and their hearts shall be strong. So you heed the voice. My sheep hear my voice, and they come to me. That's what the New Greco-Roman New Testament says about Jesus. All right. So this teacher of righteousness, if it's not Jesus, then who else? All because the Dead Sea Scrolls ain't what we'll call dry snitching on themselves, putting their names in their writing, like, hey, because they right now this movement was a force to be reckoned with. The Romans they sent people to infiltrate this movement, like Paul. Okay, this movement, yo, was dangerous, man. I'm not talking about like they radical or nothing like that. I'm saying the fact that they were uniting Israel, and they understood that that things had to take place. All right, they just didn't understand. Well, they did understand eventually that that the Messiahs may not come back during their time. All right, they understood that. All right, but they was setting up, and they really gave. We was talking about the other day. They really gave us the blueprint for the last days, not knowing. They went through what they went through, so we can have the blueprint, so we can finish it off for those that want to follow the truth. And I know this can get very controversial. Now, so it's saying, and when they heard them, so if those who for those who did listen to the voice of the teacher of righteousness, when they heard it, and did not despise the precepts of righteousness, when they heard them, they shall rejoice, and their hearts shall be strong, and they shall prevail over all the sons of the earth. God will forgive them, and they shall see his salvation, see his Yeshua, see his Yeshua, see his salvation, because they took refuge in his holy name. All right. If this not the Messiah, who is this? Who is this? If this not Jesus, who is this? It can't be two Messiahs like this, yo. Not in this manner. All right. Now, I'm gonna keep going. All right, so now moving on, we're gonna move on to the commentary. All right. Let's move on to this commentary. 1 second. Now this commentary, this first century. Everything I've been reading is first century. All right, now we're gonna go to this commentary. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let this load up real quick. Come on. There we go. All right. What a fan. All right, so now I'm going to everything in the Dead Sea Scrolls is not first century. A lot of only probably about maybe 20 to 30% of it is first century material. All right, the rest of it is stuff that dates, to the second BCE, third BCE, some even to the fourth BCE. All right. So let's see. Now, what I'm going to, this is what they call the Pesher, which is the commentary. All right. So the early church, they had their own commentary on how they see scriptures and how they commentary with the prophets. They had their own commentary. So we're going to read their commentary. All right. I now will start with this in Genesis. Isaiah. All right. And make sure that this is gonna be Roman numerals, so I gotta make sure I got the right Roman numerals on there. I'm gonna say the right Roman numeral words. All right, so hold on. This PDF be acting crazy sometimes. All right, so we're in the commentaries on Isaiah, and this is the early church commentaries. All right. So now we're gonna read what the early church, think about certain things and about the teacher of righteousness. All right, dealing with his ministry, dealing with the life of the teacher of righteousness. All right, so now this is Isaiah chapter 5. All right, this is Isaiah chapter 5, and this is his commentary on Isaiah chapter 10. I'm sorry, it's chapter 10. So Isaiah chapter 10, verse 28 to 32. And this is the commentary on Isaiah chapter 28, verse 32. All right, and I'm gonna read this. When they return from the desert of the people, so this is when they return from the desert of the people, the prince of the congregation and afterwards will depart from them. He has to come to Alaf. He has passed through Migram at Mikmas. I'm not gonna read the I'm not gonna read the scripture. I'm gonna just read the commentary. So this is the interpretation of Isaiah 10, verse 28 through 32. And it is the interpretation of this decree concerns the coming of the days trembles when he ascends from the vale of Akko to wage war against. And none is like him in all the cities and as far as the frontier of Jerusalem. All right. Now I'm gonna keep going. So it's more commentary. So this is gonna get crazy. So now this is this is dealing with Isaiah 10 verse 33 through 34. All right, and the interpretation concerns the Kittim, who shall crush the house of Israel and humble the nations, and violence shall be dismayed, and their hearts shall melt. And which is said, the tallest tree shall be cut down. These are the valiant of Kittim, and that which he said, the heart of the forest shall be filled with the axe, for the war of Kittim and Lebanon and Lebanon through the power, a powerful one shall fall. Its interpretation concerns Kittim, who will be given into the hand of the great one when he flees before Israel. So this is first century. They dealing with the Romans right now. This is dealing with the Romans. All right, now check this out. Check this out. Now this is a commentary, still dealing with this is chapter 11, if I'm not mistaken. This is chapter 11. Let me make sure. Chapter 11 in Isaiah. All right. This is Isaiah chapter 11, verse 1 through 3. And this is dealing with the rod, the stem of Jesse. Okay. And the branch shall grow out of the roots. Okay. So a rod forth, and there shall come forth a rod from the stem of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of its roots. And the spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him, the spirit of wisdom and understanding, the spirit of counsel and might, the spirit of knowledge and of fear of the Lord. And his delight shall be in fear of the Lord. He shall not judge by what his eyes see, or pass sentence for what his ears hear. Shall judge the poor righteously, shall pass sentences justly on the humble of the earth. Now, this is their interpretation. And this is where they get, this is why they call themselves Nazarenes also. And that's because they believe they believe they're following that branch. Interpretation, this concerns the branch of David, who shall arise at the end days, and God will uphold him with the spirit of might, and will give him a throne of glory and a crown of holiness and many colored garments. He will put a scepter in his hand, and shall judge and shall rule over all the nations in Magog, and his sword shall judge all the peoples. And for that which he said, he shall not judge but by what his eyes see, or pass sentence by what his ears hear. Interpreted, this means that the priests, as they teach him, so will he judge, and as they order, so will he pass sentence. One of the priests of renown shall go out, and garments of shall be in his hands. Okay, it's broken into, it's fragmented. But so they understand, okay, that this branch is coming. This branch is going to be, going to be the people who are going to rule over the people. So who is this branch? Is this branch the teacher of righteousness? Because they know the teacher of righteousness is going to come, and then also the Messiah is going to return with the angels. That's how they understand in the war scroll. He's going to return with the angels. All right, so this Isaiah, still, this is their interpretation. This is their interpretation. All right. Now this is interpreted. This saying concerns the last days, devastation of the land by sword and famine at the time of the visitations of the land. All right. Let me jump down. Matter of fact, So let me jump down to this right here. This is what I want to read at the bottom. So this is more interpretation. This is their interpretation. And this is Isaiah, I think this is chapter 30. All right. And this I'm gonna read. They saying, referring to the last days concerning the congregation, those who seek smooth things in Jerusalem, who despise the law and do not trust in God. As robbers lie and wait for a man, they have despised the words of the law. O Zion, who live in Jerusalem, you shall weep no more. This is Isaiah. You shall weep no more at the sound of your crying. He will be gracious to you. He will answer you when he bears it. Although the Lord gives you bread of oppression and water of distress, your teacher shall be hidden no more, and your eyes shall see your teacher. Okay, so they understanding that this Davidic branch, this branch is the teacher also. They understand that he's the teacher. You should see your teacher. They understand that he's the teacher and he's the branch. He's the teacher and he's the branch. All right, so now we're gonna keep going into the life of him. So let's keep going. Now I'm gonna go to the page. Let me go to this. Let's see. Let me go to page 503. I'm still in the commentaries. Now we're gonna go to the commentary of Micah. All right. Commentary of Micah. One second. All right, now commentary of Micah. Now, this is dealing with the liar, all right, and the teacher of righteousness. We're gonna get more into that. So this is Micah, and this is Micah 1, verse 5 through 6. All right, this is their interpretation. All right. And their interpretation, this concerns the spouter of lies who led the simple astray. So it was a liar that was in there that led the simple astray, that led people astray within the community. All right. And this concerns the teacher of righteousness who expounded. So now this is how you know that the teacher of righteousness is the Davidic Messiah. Also, it say, this is Micah chapter 1, verse 5, and it say, and what is the high place of Judah? Is it not Jerusalem? They're interpreted this concerns the teacher of righteousness who expounded the law to all his council and to all who freely pledged themselves to join the elect of God, to keep the law in the council of the community who shall be saved on the day of judgment. So the teacher of righteousness is the one that's going to expound on the law, and that's going to actually get them to be saved on the day of judgment by them understanding the teacher of righteousness, hearing his voice, understanding the teacher of righteousness. All right, so now get to some more of this. So let me see. But this is definitely first century. I'm gonna jump right to the teacher of righteousness stuff though. But it's definitely first century. They go into Kittim. They talk about how Kittim is going to take the going to the temple and rob the temple and all of that. So now let's see. This is page. I'm gonna go to page 509. All right, now this is the commentary on Habakkuk. Commentary on Habakkuk 509. Okay. Now this is their commentary on Micah chapter 1 verse 4. This is their commentary. All right, this is their commentary. And say the wicked is the wicked priest, and the righteous is the teacher of righteousness. So for the wicked encompass the righteousness. And now their commentary is the wicked priest, and the righteous is the teacher of righteousness. All right. So now, but let's keep going. So let's go to 510. So check. I'm gonna keep going to this. I'm gonna read this commentary on how they feel. All right. Now this is commentary on Micah. Now this is interpreted those who were unfaithful together with the liar, and that they did not listen to the word received by the teacher of righteousness from the mouth of God. And it is concerned the unfaithful of the new covenant, and that they have not believed in the covenant of God and have profaned his holy name. And likewise, this saying is to be interpreted as concerning this who will be unfaithful at the end of days. They, the men of violence and breakers of the covenant, would not believe when they hear all that is to happen to happen to the final generation from the priest in whose heart God set, understanding that he might interpret all the words of his servants, the prophet. Through him, he foretold all that would happen to his people in his land. So they understand the teacher of righteousness is the one that's going to break down the prophets. All right, it's going to show you more about it, but it's going back to this liar, to this Judas. All right, so the unfaithful together with the liar did not listen to the word received by the teacher of righteousness from the mouth of God. So this teacher of righteousness, his word is from the mouth of God. If this not Jesus, who is this? If this not Jesus, who is this? All right, so now I'm gonna go to page. This is the commentary they have of Habakkuk. Okay, this is their commentary on how they break down certain things within Habakkuk. This is the church commentary. All right. So now This is more about the teacher of righteousness. And it reads, interpreted, this concerns the house of Absalom and the members of his council who were silent at the time of the chastisement of the teacher of righteousness and gave him no help against the liar who flaunted the law in the midst of their whole congregation. So this liar, which we can say this Judas, all right, he's going around flaunting the law in the midst of the whole congregation. He's betraying the teacher of righteousness. And so he's saying somebody within his congregation didn't give no help when the teacher of righteousness was chastised. They didn't give no help against for the teacher of righteousness against the liar who was trying to sway people to do whatever, go against certain whatever things the teacher of righteousness was saying. All right. So you have this going on. So now let's keep going. So this is real time. So this is being recorded, and this is being recorded. This is stuff that they wrote down that happened about the teacher of righteousness. We're going to keep seeing the correlations between the teacher of righteousness and Jesus. All right, now I'm gonna keep going. So let me read this still commentary of them about Habakkuk. And God told Habakkuk to write down that which would happen to the final generation. But he did not make known to him when time would come to an end. As for that which he said, that he who reads may read it speedily. Interpreted. This concerns the teacher of righteousness, to whom God may know all the mysteries of the words of his servants, the prophets. So God made the teacher of righteousness understand all the mysteries of the words of this is, if this not the Messiah, who is this? And this is something that the people of the community witnessed this from the Messiah, just like the we see in the Greco-Roman New Testament that Jesus' community witnessed him doing certain things. The church witnessed Jesus doing certain things, breaking down certain prophecies, understanding the mysteries of God. All right, so now let's keep going. We're going to keep going. All right, so now let me go. All right, now this is still Habakkuk. This is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 4. But the righteous shall live by faith. So how should the righteous live by faith according to the early church? Interpreted. This concerns all those who observe the law. Okay, I'm right here, who observe the law in the house of Judah, whom God will deliver from the house of judgment because of their suffering and because of their faith in the teacher of righteousness. If that's not Jesus, who is this? So we tell him it's another Messiah that we got to have faith in, like that, and suffer because we following him like that, and we got to keep the law. We got to observe the law. That's who is this? Is the teacher of righteousness is the Messiah? The teacher of righteousness is Jesus. Jesus is the teacher of righteousness. The life of this is going on with this commentary is at least like mid first century, at least maybe 50, early 60s, but definitely in the 50s. Definitely in the, because this is after the teacher of righteousness. I'm gonna show you this is after he came, because the Damascus document is after the teacher of righteousness came. The commentary that we're reading is after the teacher of righteousness came. So they telling a life, timeline of what happened to the teacher of righteousness during this time, and how the church should keep up with certain things and follow the teacher of righteousness along with the law until the return of them. All right, so now let's keep going. Keep going. So let's go to page 414. Page 414. Let's see. All right. So now So there's more interpretation in Habakkuk, more interpretation. And then so this is because of the blood, this is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 8. Because of the blood of men and the violence done to the land, to the city, and to all the inhabitants, interpreted. This concerns the wicked priests, who God delivered into the hands of his enemies because of the iniquity committed against the teacher of righteousness, and the men of his counsel, that he might be humbled by means of destroying scourge and bitterness of soul, because he had done wickedly to his elect. So the wicked priest had his judgment coming upon him. He will be delivered, and it tell you the wicked priest is going to be delivered to Kittim, to Rome. It tells you this in this commentary. All right, and it tell you right here that, let me read this right here. So it say, this is their commentary. He said, because you have plundered many nations, all the remnant of his people shall plunder you. Interpreted. This concerns the last priest of Jerusalem, who shall amass money and wealth by plundering the people. But in the last days, their riches and booty shall be delivered into the hands of the army of the Kittim, for it is they who shall be the remnant of the peoples. So they came in and sacked the Romans came in and sacked the temple in 70 AD. Okay, they came in and sacked the temple. So now, but going back to the teacher of righteousness, because of what the wicked priest did. So it say this concerns the wicked priest, whom God delivered into the hands of his enemies because of the iniquity committed against the teacher of righteousness. All right. And the men of his counsel, because you're not getting crucified. You're not getting a Roman crucifixion for no reason. You got to be. You actually historically, you actually have to be a real a threat to the Roman Empire, or you got to be like a real super criminal, a real low life bad criminal. And the people that got that was crucified with Christ, it said that they was like kind of like thieves or whatever. It wasn't to the point where they was like, they got crucified with him. Technically, it could have been people a part of his movement that was crucified with him, next to him. And they make up a whole nother story because those two people was thieves, or they want to call it, or they want to say they was thieves, but these people could have been revolutionary rebels, along with Christ. Jesus was labeled as a rebel. Yeshua was labeled as a rebel. That's why he got crucified. All right, the teacher of righteousness was labeled as a rebel, and the men of his counsel, and that he be humble means be destroying. So the wicked priest got his judgment delivered into him. Okay, the God delivered him into the Romans. All right, because of what they did against the teacher of righteousness and the men of his counsel. All right, so now let's keep going. And then another thing saying the same thing what happened with James, the Messiah brother, the teacher of righteousness brother. They say, right, because of what took place with James, also, they would say, like maybe like 3 years later, 4 years later, 3.5 years later, the siege came. But the scrolls think about, they let a 40-year period. So when the liar came, when the time of the gathering of the teacher of righteousness, then when the liar started separating people from the group or whatever, 40 years from that, you will have a destruction that came upon that, and that was 70 AD. All right, to 73 AD. All right, so now, but let's keep going, because we almost finished with this. So I want to read it, but this is when this is still dealing with Habakkuk, and this is he say, I find this interesting. He say, woe to him who builds a city with blood and founds a town upon falsehood. Behold, it is not from the Lord of hosts. It is not from the Lord of hosts that the people shall labor for fire, and the nation shall strive for naught. So, and it's interpreted that the concerns the spotter of lies, who led many astray, that might build his city of vanity with blood and raise a congregation of deceit. The liar was mad. This lie, like I said, Judas Iscariot is another interpretation of his name, and the Hebrew would be the lying man, the man that lied. All right, Iskarim, or something like that. Pronounce something like, I'm not, my Hebrew poor. All right, but so he raised a congregation of deceit and caused many thereby to perform a service of vanity for the sake of his glory. All right, and to be pregnant with works of deceit, that their labor might be for nothing, and that they might be punished with fire, who reviled and outraged the elect of God. I just want to read it. But now going back to the teacher of righteousness in the issues with him and the liar. And this is interpreted. When they return the lies, and afterwards knowledge shall be revealed to them abundantly like the waters of sea. So in the last days, the truth will start coming out like the abundance of sea. And this is their interpretation on, on Habakkuk. Now, this is more interpreted. This concerns the wicked priest who pursued the teacher of righteousness to the house of his exile, that he might confuse him with his venomous fury at the time appointed for rest. For the day of atonement, he appeared before them to confuse them, to cause them to stumble on the day of fasting, their Sabbath of repose. Letting you know the day of atonement is a day of fasting. But to let you know, the wicked priest attacked the teacher of righteousness on the day of atonement one time. Came up on him on the day of it. We getting historical information right now. The wicked priest rode up on him, and the wicked priest on a different calendar. He now on the same calendar as the teacher of righteousness, but you know what he did? He rolled up on him on their day of atonement, and he's straight, trying to cause them to eat, trying to get them all, riled up and all that, trying to cause them to break their day of fasting. Let's keep going. So let's see. Let's keep going. I'm gonna go to what we at? 521. Let's go to 521. We can go to still dealing with the commentary, still dealing with their interpretation on scriptures. All right, this is their interpretation on scriptures. So now we're gonna do the commentary of Psalms. We're in the commentary of Psalms. We go to 521. All right, this is their commentary. All right. If I'm going to 520, and it's still dealing with now the 40 years, and say, and this is Psalms. What chapter is this? But this is in Psalms. Go look at the Psalms. This is in Psalms right here. Forgot what chapter it is, but this is their commentary on Psalms, and it say, a little while the wicked shall be no more. I will look towards his place, but he shall not be there. Interpreted. This concerns all the wicked. At the end of 40 years, they shall be blotted out, and no evil man shall be found on the earth. So they know that 40 years, something was supposed to take place within 40 years, and it did. The destruction of the temple took place at the end of that 40 years. Now, going with the teacher of righteousness there, the teacher of righteousness. So let me go down. Let's keep going. Check this out. So page 521, where we at? End of the page. All right, and this is the interpretation right here. More interpretation in Book of Psalms. This is their interpretation on Psalms. The steps of a man are conformed by the Lord, and his delights in all his ways. Though he stumble, he shall not fall, for the Lord shall support his hand. Interpreted. This concerns the priest, the teacher of righteousness, whom God chose to stand before him, for he established him to build for himself the congregation of the poor, or the congregation of the elect. It breaks off right there. But to let you know, the teacher of righteousness is considered a priest also. So he's also considered the Davidic branch, and he's also considered a priest also. But we also know that he's that true prophet. All right. Also, we know that. So this is the church. This is the church. Who is this? That's Jesus. The teacher of righteousness is Jesus, yo. It's Jesus. All right. It's the Messiah. So now, check this out. Still in the commentary. All right. Now, this is still a commentary on Psalms. Now, the wicked watches out for the righteous and seek to slay him. The Lord will not abandon him in his hand or let him be condemned when he is tried. Interpreted. This concerns the wicked priest who watch the teacher of righteousness, that he might put him to death because of the ordinance and the law which he sent to him. But God will not abandon him and will not let him be condemned when he is tried. And God will pay him his reward by delivering him into the hand of the violent of the nations, that he may execute upon him judgment. So the wicked priest, went after the teacher of righteousness, actually put him to death. We're gonna read the teacher of righteousness' own words in just a second, and then we're done. So, but the teacher of righteousness right here is saying the wicked priests watch the teacher of righteousness that they may put him to death because of the ordinance of the, I'm trying to say he's breaking the law. But God would not abandon him and would not let him be condemned when he is tried. All right. But the wicked priest God gave up the wicked priests because of what they did to the teacher of righteousness, like we just read before. In the church commentary. So we understand that God gonna give the wicked priests up to the nation. He gave up Jerusalem to the nations because of what they did to the wicked, what they did to the teacher of righteousness, what the wicked priest did to the teacher of righteousness. All right. Now, let's see. Now check this out right here. And more about the liar who, and it say, I have seen a wicked man overbearing like a cedar of Lebanon. I passed before him, and lo, he was no more. Though I sought him, he could not be found. Interpreted. It concerns the liar against the elect of God who sought to bring to an end. He was hating. You see Judas hating on the teacher of righteousness throughout the Greco-Roman Gospels. All right. Now, check this out. Go to the last, this is the last commentary right here. Now, and the last thing in Psalms, it say the last commentary we have right here, the last two, it say and my tongue is the pen of a speed scribe. Interpretation concerning the teacher of righteousness, God with an answering tongue. So the teacher of righteousness is connected with the Most High. He's the Messiah. He's understanding the prophets. He's understanding the scriptures. All right. Then this is the last one. Vain it is for you to rise early and lie down late. You shall eat the bread of toil. He shall feed those who love him in their sleep. I love those who love me. If you love me, if you love me, feed my sheep. If you love me, do this for me. And this interpretation is that they shall seek the teacher of righteousness, who is the priest, at the end of the age. So at the end of the age, at the end of times now, people are trying to get this truth. They're trying to get back to the teacher, right? Trying to get the understanding of the Messiah, of the true understanding of Jesus, the true understanding of the Messiah, right? So at the end of the age, people will seek the teacher of righteousness, which is, he's a priest also. He's a priest also. But we do know this community believed that it would be a priest coming from Aaron also, which we know that's John the Baptist. And I'm going to have so much information to prove all of this because it's in the records. It's in history and it's in the records. All right. So now, to wrap this up, we're going to go to the hymns. Right? We're going to go to the hymns. Now, let's go back up. Go to these hymns. So the teacher of righteousness, and what we read, you can see the correlations of what took place with Jesus. So we got kind of a historical, assessment of things that took place with the teacher of righteousness. Right, to get some more of it in his words. We're gonna read a couple of passages of the teacher of righteousness himself. All right, and there's some shocking correlations that I'm about to show right here. Save the best for last. All right, so now we can go ahead and wrap this up. Almost on the hour mark. Wrap this up. Let's see. All right, now we're gonna go to, these are the hymns. All right, these are the hymns. We call them, and most scholars agree that these hymns are written by the teacher of righteousness. All right. So these are the hymns of the teacher of righteousness right here. These are the hymns of Jesus, of Yeshua. And I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show y'all. So now, first, let me start page 277. I recommend y'all to get the scrolls, study the scrolls, get familiar with the scrolls, grow with the scrolls. Like I said earlier, the Dead Sea Scrolls is basically like the Judean Christian Bible. Basically, it has the Old Testament, and when you get the scrolls, also get you a Dead Sea Scrolls Bible. Where's my Dead Sea Scrolls Bible at? Get you a Dead Sea Scrolls Bible to go along with it. Where's my? Can't find my Dead Sea Scrolls Bible. Oh, here it go, right here. Get you a Dead Sea Scrolls Bible. Also, I don't know if I can see this. It's probably not being visible like that. But get you a Dead Sea Scrolls Bible. Also, to go along with the complete Dead Sea Scrolls. All right. Then you have a whole Judean Christian Bible along with the Septuagint. So now let's check this out. Let's wrap this up. So we in the hymns of the Creator, which is the hymns of the teacher of righteousness, the Thanksgiving hymns. That's what they call it, the Thanksgiving hymns. All right. And this is the hymns of the teacher of righteousness. All right. And I'm going to read a couple. One second. Let me pull out my book so I got stuff highlighted within my book. All right, so we're in the hymns of the Creator. Now, the hymns of the teacher of righteousness, the hymns, these are called the hymns and poems, the Thanksgiving hymns. So now, I'm gonna start on page 271. I'm gonna work my way on down. I'm gonna move through it though. I'm gonna move through it pretty quick. But I want to get these correlations. All right, so now, here we go. So 271. Now, all right. Now check this out. Check out what this say. Now, just read this. This is the teacher of righteousness speaking. Through me, thou has illumined the face of the congregation and has shown that infinite power. So the congregation seeing things through the teacher of righteousness that the Most High was showing the congregation, like just like Jesus. All right. So through me, thou has illumined that face of the congregation and has shown that infinite power. For thou hast given me knowledge through the marvelous mysteries, and have shown thyself mighty within me in the midst of the marvelous congregation. What? Is that not the Messiah? This is what he's saying. This is what he's saying he is. This is what he's saying. Let's see. Matter of fact, I'm gonna read this right here too. This right here, it say, thou hast revealed thyself to me in thy power as a perfect light, and thou hast not covered my face with shame. All those who gather in thy covenant inquire of me. This is the Messiah, and they have hearkened to me who walk in the way of thy heart, who arrayed themselves for thee in the council of the holy. All right, so they hearken to me. That's the Messiah. That's the Messiah, y'all. Now, let's keep going. So let's go to page one. Still in the hymns, the Thanksgiving hymns. Go to 274. Go to 274. Now I'm about to show some stuff in here. 274. All right. And this reads, let's see. All right. Now check this out. All who have eaten my bread have lifted their heel against me, and all those joined to my counsel have mocked me with wicked lips. The members of my covenant have rebelled and have murmured round about me. They have gone as talebearers. So something happened within the community. Something happened, but you get this same understanding. I'm gonna go to first I'm gonna go to Psalms, and this is how we know that this is the Messiah right here. This I'm gonna go to Psalms 41. Psalms 41, verse 9. And it read, yeah, my own familiar friend in whom I trusted, which did eat of my bread, have lifted up his heel against me. Hold on. And then we see the same thing within the Greco-Roman John. We see the same thing, and then you see the same thing within the Gospels. Right here, I'm gonna just read the one that's in John, and it say, and I speak not of you all, and I know whom I have chosen, but the scripture may be fulfilled. He that eateth bread with me have lifted up his heel against me. Hold on, hold on, what you mean? Now I tell you before it come, that when it is come to pass, you believe that I am he. Hold on, so you got the teacher of righteousness is saying that people is that all. Let me go back to the teacher of righteousness. The teacher of righteousness, he's saying all have eaten my bread, have lifted their heel against me. And you see the same thing within John, that they got Jesus, they got the Messiah quoting, saying that I have spoke of you all, I know whom I have chosen. But the scriptures may be fulfilled. He that eateth bread with me have lifted up his heel against me. Hold on. This is the Messiah. The teacher of righteousness is the Messiah. That's Jesus, y'all. But that comes with a whole understanding. Now we have to dig into the scrolls. Now we have to understand the Judean Christians. Now we got to understand the Ebionites. Now we have to understand the truth. All right. So now let's keep going. Let's keep going. So I'm gonna go to 275. Now let's see. Now check this out. I eat the bread of wailing. All right. And I drink unceasing tears. Truly, my eyes are dismayed by grief, and my soul by daily bitterness, groaning, sorrow encompass me. My ignominy covers my face. My bread is turned into an adversary, and my drink into an accuser. It has entered into my bones, causing my spirit to stagger and my strength to fail. So what happened? What happened? His people that he was breaking bread with, he said, my bread is turned into an adversary, my drink into an accuser. People that he was breaking bread with betrayed him. Judas at the table. And this is what you see. This is what you see right here. I'm about to show you. This is what you see right here in the New Testament. Let me go to Mark. Let me go to Mark 1. Mark 14. And I'm gonna start at verse 18. And it reads, and as they sat and did eat, Jesus said, verily, I say unto you, one of you which eateth with me shall betray me. And then began to be sorrow and say unto him, one by one, is it I? And another said, it is I. And he answered and said unto them, it is one of the 12 that dip with me in the dish. That dip with me in the dish. So this is, so the same thing that you see, my bread is turned into an adversary, my drink into an accuser. The same people that he was breaking bread with, somebody betrayed him. All right, this is what you see. This is the life of the teacher of righteousness. What you see, the correlation with Jesus and the teacher of righteousness, letting you know it's the same person, y'all. the earth shall help the woman. All right. Now, let's keep going. More that he is the Messiah, more that this is Jesus. Check this out. Check this out. So it say, for thou will bring thy glorious salvation to all the men of that council, so the people that's within the community, to those who share a common lot with the angels of the faith. So they know that they believe in the resurrection. This is just one of many passages of them believing in the resurrection. They understand that they will reach the glorious salvation. They will have angels of, they will have face of the angels. All right. They will have face of the angels. And among them shall be no mediator to invoke thee, and no messenger to make reply. For they shall reply according to that glorious word, and shall be thy princes in the company of angels. All right. So now, letting you know, this is the church. This is the church, y'all. This is the church. But now, this one, what a one thing at? Okay. Let me matter of fact, let me finish this up and then we done. We done. So two, I'm gonna go to still in the Thanksgiving hymns. All right. So this is page 281 in the Thanksgiving hymns. All right. And this reads, let's see. At the bottom of the page. And it say, for in thy righteousness thou hast appointed me for that covenant, and I have clung to thy truth, and going forward in thy truth way. This is the Messiah. This is the Messiah. This is the Messiah. But look at this. Look at this. This is the teacher of righteousness speaking, and look what he says. He says, thou hast shed thy Holy Spirit upon me, that I may not stumble. This is the Messiah. All right. This is the Messiah. This is Jesus. All right. Let's see. Keep going. Check this out. Thou hast made me a father to the sons of grace. That's the Messiah. And as a foster father to the men of marvel. They have opened thy mouth like little babes out of the mouth of babes, y'all. And Jesus quotes this in the New Testament. Like a child playing in the lap of his nurse. Thou hast lifted my horn above those who assaulted me. Even though they went against him, God still rose him to a higher heavenly position. Just like the Messiah. Thou hast lifted my horn above those who assaulted me, and those who attacked me, sway like boughs of a tree. My enemies like chaff before the wind, and my dominion is over the sons of iniquity. For thou hast secured my soul, O my God, and hast lifted my horn on high, and thou shalt shine in sevenfold light, in the counsel appointed by thee for thy glory. For thou an everlasting heavenly light to me, and will establish my feet upon level ground forever. So he's prophesying, he's writing these things, and prophesying things was going to take place to him. He was prophesying these things. Of things was going to take place, how people were going to betray him, how he was going to be, he was going to be illuminated after his death, and all of that. Like, he was prophesying this. This is the teacher, right? This is Jesus. All right. Now, that's it. It's one last scripture. I'm trying to get to it. So, I mean, it's crazy, but it's the truth. All right. They tried to hide the church. They hide the church, but the Most High, like, nope. The earth shall help the woman. All right. And the scrolls speak about that. They speak about how the earth will help the woman, and how the serpent, that flood, it's the serpent, it's the leaders of these nations, and how they tried to, put the flood of false lies on us. But the Dead Sea Scrolls help the woman. All right. So now let's go to this is the last one, right? This page 268. And I find this interesting right here. I'm glad this is the last one, because I didn't even try to make this the last one, but So check this out right here. Let's see. So this is the Thanksgiving hymns. All right. And it say this. It say, I thank thee, O Lord, for thou hast illuminated my face by the covenant. I seek thee. And sure as the dawn, thou appearest as perfect light to me. Teachers of lies have smoothed the people with words, and false prophets have led them astray. They perish without understanding, for their works are in folly. For I am despised by them, and they have no esteem for me, and that thou mayest manifest thy might through me. They have banished me from my land like a bird from its nest. All my friends and brethren are driven far from me and hold me for a broken vessel. So he's showing, he's prophesying how they was going to come against him. All right. And he said, for I am despised by them. He am despised by them. This is Isaiah. Let's go to Isaiah 53. Isaiah 53. This is the Messiah. Isaiah 53, verse 3. He is despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief, and we hid as it were our faces from him. He were despised, and we esteemed him not. All right, that's what you see right here with the teacher of righteousness saying. He's saying, I'm despised by the people of folly, those people who don't want to listen to the law. He despised by false prophets, by the teachers of lies. He despised by them. All right. So now that's the lesson for today. Hope this was very informative. People can take this and listen to it again, rewind and study this. This, we got one more part with this next week, and then we're done with the teacher of righteousness. And there's a lot of information that will let people know that the teacher of righteousness is Jesus. If it's not Jesus, then we have a dilemma. It can't be, we have a problem, because it can't be two Davidic messiahs to that degree. All right. It's no way. So somebody lying to us. But I hope this was a blessing, and shalom, and everybody have a